All right, here we are inside the stadium instead of outside this time. Last time I was outside filming this, sprinklers doused me in my computer, so we're doing it inside. What a sick joke I played on myself with the banner right behind me, right there. What am I doing? But final score 34-24, Texas A&M knocks off Mississippi State. 3 straight losses by Mississippi State to top 15 teams. They lost on the road to 2 top 5 teams. They lose today to a number 14 team in Texas A&M. And you look at it, all 3 games Mississippi State projected to lose by more than what they lost, which is, it's progress. I know that people do not like moral victories. I promise you, Jeff Lebby does not like moral victories, and especially in the way that they're getting them, where they have plays there to be made, and that they have penalties, and they have turnovers that they wish they could get back, or turnovers that they didn't get that they should have gotten, mistakes. There's so many things that Mississippi State is not doing right now that could better their situation, and that's kind of the frustrating thing. That's why Jeff Lebby doesn't really accept the whole moral victory thing. If they were doing everything that they possibly could and the other team was just simply, that much better than them, I think that they could accept that. And I mean, honestly, I do think that they are accepting that they are getting better and things like that. But it's a team right now that's very frustrated in how things have played out. You had the 3 losses before this stretch where Mississippi State just played terribly. They weren't doing what they needed to do on offense to stay in ball games. The defense was, just awful, and it still is not very good. But I think you're seeing progress in a lot of things they're doing on defense, even though it might not show on the scoreboard as much. Against Texas, you give up 500 yards and over 30 points. Against Georgia, you give up 600 yards and over 40 points. You give up 30-plus again in this one. And the big takeaway for me on the defensive side was third downs. It was like nothing I had ever seen before at Mississippi State. 9 of 11 for Texas A&M to start. They finished 9 of 16 on third downs. They were 9 of 11 on those third downs. Actually, they're 9 of 14 as their finish. 9 of 11, they had 146 yards on those third downs. That's what was so crazy. They had given up 146 yards on 11 third downs. On the other 32 plays to that point, Mississippi State had given up 113 yards. So the third downs were killer for the Bulldogs. I would say at least 2 possessions, maybe 3, that they scored on. The Mississippi State could have gotten off the field. They didn't get off the field. The third downs were the killer. So that was huge in the game. And then when the defense did step up in the second half, State just couldn't do anything offensively. I give a lot of credit to A&M on that. I think it's the best defensive line in the league that I've seen. They were dominant up front. Mississippi State just could not block them. And when they decided to pin their ears back, it was an issue for State. Second half was a real struggle for MSU offensively. They scored 7 points after scoring 17 in the first half. And I thought the defense played much better in the second half. You look at the drive chart later on in the game, and the first half you have TD, interception, TD on your first 4 possessions defensively. The interception was big, but you throw an interception on your next drive. That hurt right there. Although State was able to come back there before the half and have a nice drive. The second half, field goal, TD, interception, punt, field goal, punt. So you had that touchdown drive that was off of Mississippi State faking a punt for God knows why, and they scored on a short field. Other than that, I thought the defense played really well in the second half. I think you got to give them credit for that, but the defense is still such a mess. I don't see a way out of this next year without making a change. I just don't think Mississippi State can move forward with the same defensive staff. That's just my opinion on it. With what they have to do as far as a talent acquisition in the transfer portal and in this high school and JUCO class, I think you got to have some changes there, some big changes, and we'll see if they'll do it. But I don't know. But there was still some tangible evidence that this team is getting better, and it's very difficult right now to look at it and continue to see Mississippi State lose week to week, and you look at the players post game and they're just really dejected. And I can't imagine planning all week for this, and you work every single day, and you feel like you play fairly well. I mean, State played, I thought, okay in this game. You feel like you prepare well, you feel like you execute in a lot of areas well, and you lose again. This is 6 straight losses, which I think, just about everybody would have predicted Mississippi State would lose all 3 of these games. I think it's gone better than expected for the most part, but it's still frustrating. Just a few quick little stat marks here. State actually outgained A&M 367 to 353, nearly outrushed them. This is a team that is one of the best rushing teams in the country, and also the best against the rush. State did both of those fairly well. They held A&M to 3.7 yards a rush. I think that's solid. And they had 3.5 per rush. But you take away the sacks in this game and the negative yards there when Van Buren was sacked, the adjusted sack average was actually 4.4 yards a rush. And Davon Booth had 6.6, 12 carries, 79 yards. Best game by far for him. Johnny Daniels, 13 for 50. This is a team that hasn't been able to break off a run of 20 or more yards this year. They had 2 or 3 in this game. Johnny Daniels had a 25-yard rush. Davon Booth on the first possession had a 40-yard rush. So, again, this is another game where State, without the sacks, actually ran the football pretty well, especially from their 2 top backs here with Davon Booth and Johnny Daniels. Now, Van Buren, he was sacked a good bit, and you had a negative 5-yard run from Mario Craver. But the 2 running backs, essentially 25 carries for over 140 yards. That's pretty good. That'll hunt right there. So that's what Jeff Lebby wants out of this offense. That's the second half wasn't nearly as good. It was actually a struggle for them to run the football, but that's what good defenses do. That's an elite defense, especially against the run. They eliminated what Mississippi State was doing well. The State got a few breakaway runs, but they weren't running the football quite as well. Van Buren, Michael Van Buren, the quarterback, I thought pretty good game today. In no way was he at fault for the loss. 22 of 41, completed 54% of his passes, but a lot of low percentage passes, and that he was having to throw into tough space and throw down the field. He doesn't make a lot of high percentage dump offs, things like that. That he's going to make some difficult throws. So the completion percentage is, to me, just not that big of a deal. 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, had the interception. Kevin Coleman was really good, and he made 2 outstanding catches, 8 catches for 89 yards with a touchdown. Had that one-handed catch that was on 4th down, or actually that was 3rd down, which was it felt like a big touchdown drive there. Mario Craver, 5 for 42. He went out of the game, did not put any weight on his foot. That didn't look good. Kelly Akari had a couple of big catches, 3 catches for 45 yards for him. I think that this team is certainly getting better. I don't think there's any question in that. I think I can understand the frustration from fans and players, but there's no doubt to me that this team's getting better. You have the right guy in position right now. There's definitely some, for the most part, you got to get more talent in here. You're probably going to have to make some changes. And listen, I mean, Jeff Lebby's learning on the fly. I know there was a lot of things in this game that he could have done a better job. I thought the fake punt was not a good call. They said they had been working on it all week. They felt like they had a good spot right there, but I don't think that's the position to do that. And I think he's learning. But I also saw some really good play calls from him today. We've seen some nice play calling really the last couple of weeks. But he's going to learn. I don't have any reservations about this offense. I think this offense is going to be really good. You're starting to see that group come together in a big way right now. I think just playing a lot of snaps together, they've gotten better. Offensive line, as far as the pass blocking is concerned, I think that's still a struggle, but I don't think you're going to see a better defensive line this year. Ole Miss is probably going to be the next best that you see, and it's going to be a really tough defensive line. But for the most part, I think this is the best that they'll see. And again, I think Ole Miss will be up there with another good one, but this is the best. And they brought a lot of pressure. 11 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Felt like they were back there all night. They knew that they could put some pressure on Michael Van Buren, try to force him into mistakes. I thought he handled it fairly well. That drive before the half was just exceptional. What he was able to do, drive the ball down the field and score a touchdown, and also to start the game. Now, if they can do that a little more with a little more regularity, I think then you're really talking. 23 to 15. Texas has gotten back in that ball game against Georgia. Look at what the heck. I decided to do a live reaction tonight because my phone's going dead and just going to do it from my computer. I might do it more. I don't know. Justin, who would you suggest at the DC next year? I don't know. I mean, I really like Shao Wood, I think is his name, from Houston. That's a guy his name's come up a lot. That it wouldn't be a bad hire. I just don't think this is going to work out for Mississippi State where they are right now. I can't imagine running it back from what we've seen. There's too many inconsistencies out there, and I hear what people are saying about the talent, and I was there too, but I've seen this enough now through 7 games. I just don't see another way. And if you do run it back, that I have questions about Jeff Lebby and his decision making for the program. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you do if you bring back the staff that you got right now. I think you got to make some changes. Yeah, this game is becoming a classic. I'm gonna have to catch the fourth quarter when we get done here. Justin, did the recruits have a better visit than what they did at Toledo? Yeah, I hadn't talked to anybody, but I imagine they did. This is you can kind of see the makings of this team, this program moving in the right direction. The atmosphere I thought was really good. You got to just take things, as they come now, like the little wins that you can get. Scoring points, putting up yards, getting stops. You take the little wins right now. I mean, just looking at it from a win-loss perspective, I don't think is the correct way to look at it, and it hasn't been even since Lebby was hired. And especially now, like, you just have to look at it as the progress you're making. I think that they're making progress there. I think they're making progress with a lot of these recruits too. Any whispers on Craver? Nothing yet. It didn't look good. Didn't put any weight on his foot. I don't know if it was an ankle or what. From what we were able to tell, Jeff Lebby didn't have any comment on it post game either. But that's a big blow if you lose him. That's one of your home run hitters. Jesse, do you think without the quarterback change we would still be seeing the same uptick offensively? That's a good question. I think so. I think Shapen could have done. He could be doing anything that Van Buren's doing right now. I really believe that. I think Van Buren's doing a great job for a true freshman, but I think Shapen's capable of doing all of this too. I feel like State was going to get better offensively as the year went on anyway with either one of these quarterbacks. But I do think that there is a little more, like, I think there's some excitement around Van Buren. There's always some excitement around the young guy. When a young guy comes in, he's got a little moxie to him. Van Buren has that energy. I do think there's something to that. But I think Shapen could have easily been doing some of these same things. He showed it when he was healthy. So I don't think there's a huge difference as far as that's concerned. I think this offense still would have found its way. Luke Blackburn, this team is so close to a win. I just hope the team will stay together another week. Arkansas is gettable. They are. That's a winnable game. I think every game the rest of the way is winnable. I think Tennessee is probably the one I would say is very, very small chance. And then Ole Miss is down there too. But that's the Egg Bowl. Oh, my goodness. What a play. That's the Egg Bowl. You never know what's going to happen. And who knows what Ole Miss is at that point. I would still go Ole Miss at this stage. But I think Arkansas, UMass, and Missouri are all very winnable games. And they're all at home. Every one of your home games from here on out, they're all winnable. That's a game that State really needs to win next week. They desperately need that ball game just to keep people locked in, have your return on investment. Guys finally get to let out that frustration. They need that one bad, and I'm interested to see how Arkansas reacts. I think last I saw they were down by 17 to LSU, so this is going to be a little bit of a roadblock for them after they had the win against Tennessee. You had the off week, kind of flying high. That's going to be interesting to see how they come back from that. This is a different looking Arkansas team than last year's. Sven, outside the fake punt, I was really pleased. Yeah, it was a solid game. Like the third downs and the fake punt were things that Mississippi State, it felt like Mississippi State could have done a better job at. The other stuff, I just think it was the other team's better. Bryce Hall, do you think a lot of the recruits will stick if we go 2-10 or 3-9? There's like a couple of guys that are on decommit watch. I think Austin Howard is going to decommit at any point, probably to Vanderbilt, but Tennessee is in the game with him too. And then you got to look at guys like Xavier Howard and Xavier Hardy, guys like that. The other guys in this class, I don't have a lot of concern about. So you need to stop the bleeding there, and then you're going to obviously have to go pick up some guys too that you don't already have on board to finish strong. Sven, what we need is better defense. Yeah, that's the biggest thing right now, man. I mean, the offense has made a ton of progress. I think you can definitely see the inner workings of, Jeff Lebby being really good on offense here, and that's exciting because Mississippi State hasn't had a consistently good offense in a while. I think he's going to be really good here, but the defense has to be fixed. State cannot continue to put this kind of defense on the field. Braxton James, does Creed think about playing now with the injury of Craver? I don't think so. I think he's locked in on redshirting. Although I saw him out there, he's still with the team and everything, but I think he's locked in on that, on redshirting. He's told Mississippi State, from what I've been told, he's told Mississippi State that he wants to stay. But I just don't know. I don't see a guy choosing to redshirt at this, like in this era of football, like when he did, and sticking around. I don't see it. Jackson, Van Buren has moxie, savvy, gumption. Yes. 3 great words. Those are excellent words. Jesse agrees overall to take about the offense, but I think Van Buren has more mobility and ability to scramble. He does, but at the same time, I don't think he realizes yet, like, that he can take off and run, or he can pull it on a read. There's a lot of things that he has to work on in the run game, and also the sliding part of things. He's sliding a little bit too early when he's got a ton of grass ahead of him. While I think you're right, he has a little more mobility. He's probably a better runner than Chapin, like as far as the talent level is. I think Chapin's a better runner, if that makes sense. I think he's a guy that could scramble a little bit better. He could, I think he could make better decisions on pulling. I just don't see that yet from Van Buren. That's part of his game that probably needs to improve. All right, so I'm going to cut it there probably. Mississippi State loses 34-24. We'll be back on probably for Talking Dogs on Monday. to talk about what Jeff Lebby said at the press conference, some more thoughts coming up on the Arkansas matchup, things like that. But before you leave, please subscribe to this channel. If you're watching this back, please subscribe. We'd love that. Subscribe to us over at Maroon and White Daily. We've got a 50% off deal over there right now. Now is the time to get it. With basketball heating up, all that stuff, this is the time to do it. So please come check us out. We got some great stuff going on there. So for myself, this has been a reaction video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you down the road.